Hello guys and welcome to TFT World Cup Grand Finals, game number 2. Enjoy.
Puddle, basically. So
I
let's
guess
hope
so.
for a closer matchup in this game too. Let's see what lessons VP might have learned. They have been the giant killers. They know what it feels like to face against a team that has their game plan set up, and they have to now bounce back and adapt in this 5-game series.
Diamonds don't form without pressure and adversity. So maybe it is like what Hupe-san has told us. They like to put themselves in the underfoot, maybe on the back foot, maybe.
The one with the underfoot
this is not the back foot. Never mind.
Yeah, I think
Kill the
Keon
script.
is pretty comfortable with this starting setup here. You know, we talked about how he likes to reroll. Well, here's a couple of gangplanks to kick things off. Now, he was gangplank in the previous game. Did not find the 3-star, even with an early 2-star gangplank. So, hoping to turn things around this time. Still, 3-star gangplank undefeated.
14 gold on that stage, able to sell everything else except for the gangplanks to make 10 and kick off that econ. I'll be able to get very quickly to 50 on this Scuttle Puddle encounter. One thing to mention, Keon has been the opposite of NCC1 across pretty much every game for VP. He is very often that one player you see at the top of the standings coming to stage 4, off of Mundo Jin, off of GP, off of rerolling in stage 3. He usually stabilizes. He's had, I think, several games where he's had a 10-win streak going into stage 4, so we'll see if he can do the same if he finds an early GP upgrade here.
I don't think it's intentional, but Keon somehow is the GP caller of the team. This is actually his 7th game of GP in the tournament.
Learn from the best, a potential option for Keon.
I would be very surprised if he picks it because no one has figured it out.
Yeah.
Imagine if it said gain a GP though. I think you'd have to pick it from the spot.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
Wrong mentor
Game
Augment,
GP2 is a
right?
gold
Wanting the teacher's council. I jumped out of my chair when I saw it. I thought it was teacher's council. Then I read the rest of it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's not that. So instead, maybe just looking for a lot more money to fund this gangplank lifestyle. More money on money on money. Stacks on stacks on stacks.
There was a consideration maybe for investment strategy on Scuttle Puddle with the early GP already. Instead, we'll go for the super giga guaranteed gold in terms of raining gold plus Scuttle Puddle gold means that you have almost a guarantee to hit GP when you only need 7 copies this early on 2-1. Solo leveling an option for Maris alongside Treasure Hunt, one of the stronger gold augments we currently have in the game.
This is the last augment to be selected here by Mara, so he has the most intel, and looks like it's going to be time skip. We have seen this quite a few times, just to rush towards that level 6, both starting on GP, 2 of them on the side of VP.
One quick mention, we talked about forging your own path, finding your own win condition. 2 players from Weibo Gaming on Portable Forge. We're seeing here one, Salpi Mi on Manazane with a guard break or striker fill already slammed, and Tiang Long is the other Portable Forge player that can really hit some of those strong artifacts for things like the Gwen, the GP, the Karma.
And Manazane being just kind of the most flexible one, but also just one of the most powerful for setting up that late game. It's also just so strong in the early stages of the game to help you win streak. And win streak into Sorks has been one of the most disgusting things that we get to see in this tournament.
It seems like Guan here is just going to be committing himself to the new contenders into the Supreme Cell line. Just gives him a copy of Kennen, most critically, to fill out his board here. I don't think it's considered a particularly strong augment in most cases, but it does kind of give you a good direction. He had a great game with All Out last game as well.
It may not be strong in most cases, but it complements All Out so much because it's already the comp that you were wanting to play, right? You're already playing these Supreme Cells, and Guan has been the player who has played more All Out than anyone else, I believe, in this tournament so far, and just continuing that streak of Weibo, valuing this comp much higher than any other team, and, well, guess what? They're in the finals, so maybe other teams missed out on this piece of tech.
It might not be the strongest augment in the meta, but if you're picking it twice in a row in the grand finals with so much at stake in this 4v4 TFT tournament, I'm sure he thinks it's very, very strong for his current spot. Salpi Mi, once again playing for that AP line, could be Sorcerers, could still be, of course, the Prodigy line. He hasn't committed with slamming something like a Rabadons for Prodigies or a Shojin for the Karma, so it's still open to both of those AP lines.
Yeah, probably won't be a Shojin due to the Manazane, so it's still, as you said, could be either way. That extra tier, we'll see if that ends up being an Archangels or a Void Staff, which would likely lead towards the Prodigy line.
Interesting from LBTZ, this is one of those augments where you lock yourself into Battle Academia, and you also need to win 4 times to get any of the bonuses from it. So I usually don't pick this unless I have a very strong Battle Academia spot. It's going to be interesting to see how he pilots it.
Or unless you have teammates to guarantee that you can activate your bonus at a certain stage in the game. Who would have thought? 4v4 opens up for the potential for certain augments that are not really picked in free-for-all to be picked and have a little bit more power.
It's a whole new world.
And that really leaves Tianlong on the side of the Weibo gaming team to match the GPs. Nobody wants to play solo GP, and the other 3 compositions have actually locked themselves in just based on augments. So does Tianlong have the spot? Can he find the GPs to move on? Or are Weibo Gaming going to pull off their specialty, which is playing without GP?
Yeah, just ignoring Gangplank. They already have the counter comp with the all-out Cassante going towards Guan. And they've done this multiple times before, even beating 3-star Gangplanks with the all-out Cassante later on into the game, as we see Tianlong having what looks to be a Shojin, so that's certainly not going to want to be towards the Gangplank.
This is such a risky move to pull in the grand finals. As we said before, at least today, no one has been able to escape the GP3 curse. Whoever gets that first, uncontested, wins the game. So is this going to be enough? They have to have a lot of tempo to make sure that GP just doesn't run away with the stage 3 and is able to farm up too much gold.
Lars does finally sell out the GP, understanding that Kian from his team is the player playing for that GP reroll angle. Already has 2 GPs as well, so wants to try and populate the pool with more GPs. Maybe can find that high roll GP2 still in this stage 2.
Looks like instead Mars maybe wanting to go towards the Sorcerer line. I mean, of course, using that for right now after finding the Swain, but also when we look at the items that he has available, definitely leans towards the Sorcerers, having that Jeweled Gauntlet ready to sling.
And it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the VP players end up. We do have NCC1, I think, listening in on our prayers, going towards a 100 streak in Stage 2. This is exactly what they need when they have most of the re-rollers, and I believe that's a Katarina 2 on the bench.
Yeah, trying to potentially grief the Battle Academia player from Weibo Gaming. We also see a Thornmill pickup here for Milo with a Bramble Vest on the Malphite for now. Curious if that can become a crew reroll, which we've seen popularized by only a few teams this tournament.
Yeah, taking stock of the streaks, NCC1 lost streaking the first 3 games that Virtus.pro played today, this time on a 4 streak headed towards Krugs. On the other side, Maris having the full loss streak for Virtus.pro at the bottom of the tables.
And we talk about the difference maker with these fast 8 AP lines. The moment a player can go into this fast 8 strategy while being at above 60 HP coming to stage 4, this is one of the huge difference makers that we've seen again and again be what tips the favor or tips the scale in favor of one of the 2 teams in this 4v4 format.
Perfect fight RNG coming for VP. They preserve both their win streak and loss streak going up against each other. On the other hand, it is much more fragmented for the side of Weibo Gaming, not really getting a lot of money. It's down to LBTZ to see if they can match, at least on the bottom side of the standings.
Yeah, really nice for VP. Milo able to actually just complete a 4 streak after the first round taking a loss. So a very good stage 2 out of Virtus.pro, and we'll see if they can continue to convert from there, as we've got the crew, looks like, for Milo.
Yeah, locked in here with the rolls coming in, and just a good spot to play it from, right? You have the extra item for the Malphite to scale with. You have already 4 Malphites and 5 Sivers. You're in a encounter that gives you a lot of extra gold, which you can transfer not just to hit your 3 stars, but because hitting your 3 stars with the crew means getting more power in terms of XP, in terms of ship damage once you have the 3 and the 4 different 3 stars on your team. So I like the setup here from Milo, taking a page out of Salpimi's book that he played earlier today.
Extra resources allows you to find those crew members a lot faster and just start getting those free rerolls every single round. That's why it's very commonly seen in those Crab Rave encounters. We'll see how many copies he can hit in this big roll down.
Yeah, usually you're going to want to see the 3-1 3-stars, especially on Crab Rave. So if he misses that, I would say he's a little bit behind curve. And currently, these rolls are not exactly cooperating. We did see some hits in the Gnar 3 almost coming out, but that's the least important. You really just need the crew to start activating that trait, because the trait really doesn't do much until you actually get a 3-star online.
One thing I will mention in contrast, Salpimi rolled down to 10 gold when we saw him playing the crew from this spot. And one more thing is, most players are realistic and they say, hey, I'm probably not hitting Ziggs because of the 3 cost. It can be target grief so easily in stage 4. Salpimi completely gave up on the Ziggs as a 3-star just played the crew for tempo in stage 3 to preserve HP. We'll see if Milo does the same or if he opts to hold these Ziggs as well and try and play for the full cap.
But we have actually seen the crew be a win-out composition on the side of Weibo Gaming. Personally, I don't like rolling too deep on the crew. I think it's correct to hold large amounts of gold. If you think about the way the trait structure actually works, you want to hit 2 of the crew 3-star at the same round. That way you actually get the extra gold. So if you're not close, hold on to your gold, keep on.
Insane spot for Maris. Had a chance for the Kingslayer while being lowest HP. I think rolled past it in the end.
You can see Keon on the gangplanks picking up a couple of those duplicators to try and lock that down as he's still rolling quite a bit. Does still stay above 50, and we have another reroll coming down from LBTZ trying to look for the Katarinas. Only 4 copies so far.
And I do want to correct myself. It was not Hero 101. He does not need to win 4 battles. The only difference is the very bottom X of that icon. So it's actually transfer students. He's going to get free copies of 1 to 3 cost Battle Academia, most likely Rakan and Katarinas going after every carousel.
And that's not on us. Sometimes these augments are just too similar to work them all out. But great correction, Clement. And now we're moving into this matchup between LBGZ and Milo. 2 of our reroll players. We see this triple item Malphite is enough to keep this Katarina occupied while Sivir dishes in the damage. It looks like it might just be enough. Looks like it's good positioning luck as well with the Malphite walking to the side and Katarina sticking with him. But all of a sudden the Senna is onto the Sivir. Is it going to be enough? This is a pivotal fight because Milo really wants to try and win these next few fights until he gets all his prep stacks.
Yeah, Milo should be just fine there. Takes that down. NCC1 now on the 7 streak. That's kind of the spot that Keon has been many times for this team, but instead NCC1 is going to revert from the lost streak addiction that we've seen over the past bit today and is instead going to be at the top of the tables.
Ooh, a lot of econ for Mars. So he again is going to be playing in the NCC1 spot, but he will be able to roll down on the creep rounds, especially because we are on the Scuttle Crab kind of portal. So I think this is a decent situation, but again, if you miss that roll down, we've seen what could happen.
Also has Crystal Gambit in, so the chance to play for some extra resources on that roll down as well. And holding Katarinas to try and grief the game plan of LBTZ, make that hit a little bit harder. We've seen overall GP has been hit without a problem most games, but Katarinas, Kaisas, they've been griefed, and the game plans have really been stuck for some players coming to stage 4 and 5, not hitting those 3 stars.
Looks like Salpimi is finally going to shatter this win streak. Just way too much value on this board. Salpimi just completely blowing out NCC1. However, it's a lot of gold that NCC1 was able to make and look to go towards that fast 8. And so they've got 2 players that can look to go fast 8 much earlier than the side of Weibo Gaming.
And some tech there from Salpimi, the Adaptive Helm on the Lucian. Adaptive Helm, you get more mana from all sources, including the missed shots that Lucian fires off. So interesting tech. It's a weird combination of item and unit, but it's actually the min-max that might swing a fight in their favor.
The mana Zane as well, so it's just so much mana being just
I'm not
injected
missing.
there.
I'm recharging. That's exactly what Lucian is going to tell you. My ADCs tell me. A really interesting line coming in from Tianlong. We were kind of wondering where he would go, and he's holding onto the Samira pair. And we have seen the Edgelord line be kind of a great brawler line for some of these teams coming in here. Very strong on stage 4 if you can get the melee fighter in a Volibear.
Over on to Maris, 8-loss streak, Crystal Gambit. And Milo
Yumi
finally
for
rolling down
Maris.
again. Yumi?
He's not locked into Sorcerers yet either, so maybe potentially going to be the Prodigy's player instead with that 8-loss streak.
Did look like NCC1 wanted to be Prodigy as well, though, so it's curious if they're able to swap sides if Maris ends up getting to the Prodigies quicker.
Ooh, this is a bit of a slow tempo coming in from Milo. You really want at least one of them to come in. Once you have 1 of the 3 stars in every role you do, also levels you up. So not getting them early, especially in a high resource portal, this is definitely a bit behind tempo.
Fighting with NCC1, who's still just on the Malzahar, a lot of 1 stars, but has been able to pump to 750 gold at 3.5, which is great. I mean, that is, you know, not crazy on this high resource portal, but it is still very strong for the side of Virtus Pro. We do have LBTZ and Maris still on the loss streak, but no, LBTZ finally going to snap that loss streak, and just Maris remains there.
Extra gold, able to go to 8 on 3-6, and already rolling on 3-6, knowing he's going to get a gold injection next turn. Lux reroll? Nope, it's not time. Only buys that one Lux. Does he find an early Karma? Could he pivot into Star Guardians is the bigger question. He has a Poppy 2 already. He has a Swain to go alongside the Rel. It's an interesting idea at the very least, but you do leave the door wide open. There's a Jinx as well. The Xayah. No, sells a Jinx. Okay, we're done.
Yeah, I think it's just a one-round stabilization. I expect him to just sell the Poppy later on here.
They are a team that played a reasonable amount of Star Guardians, though, so it wouldn't have been completely out of the question for it to be a consideration. And especially being no Karmas, and you have the pair of Aries, if you could at least just go RE2 and then go towards those Star Guardians, it'd be at least a reasonable shout.
It's been kind of difficult to play Star Guardians from this spot, and from mainly what I've seen at least, it's been stabilized around the Jinx play, so kind of an 80 flex line. Probably just going to be a run-round Poppy, but ends up losing anyway, so just missing out on interest here.
It's a good win for Milo, though. He was on a 3-win streak, now it's a 4-win streak, so I think it's actually the outcome they would have hoped for once they saw they were matching each other.
And here's going to be the big Prodigy roll down. With the Archangels, you're pretty much locked into the line. You also want to keep the Katarina away, coming in from LBTZ.
Tianglong, how does he execute this roll down? What is he looking for? Is it going to be Edgelord? Is it going to be Star Guardian with a Poppy currently online? Potential Jinx items from the current setup. He does have a Samira pair, so you would think he wants to maybe lean into Edgelord.
There is a specific line that Weibo Gaming has played, and that's Varus Legendaries, so he can hold on to the Jhin there if he does want to. You would need to significantly high roll, especially at 8, so much more likely to just be the Lucador and Edgelord version of this, but potential out.
Roll down from NCC1, looking for the Yumis, not able to find anything yet. Does pick up a couple of legendaries to go alongside with it, but there is a Varus option. It is passed up by the side of Qianlong.
I think you have too much of a setup already for the Luchador. You have the Braum already, you have the Volibear, you have the Samira 2 now at this point in time. For NCC1, once again, trouble in the Prodigy Paradise. No Yumis have been found on the roll down. He does have a lot more HP to work with at the very least. So there is one Yumi, but item is still on the Malzahar for now.
Yeah, only one copy. You've seen how hard it can be to find these 4 costs once you don't get it in the initial roll down, because everybody starts holding your units.
LBTZ has more Yumis on level 7, which is a tragedy when he is the reroll Katarina player instead. So completely unbothered by the opposing team, by VP holding Katarinas, and instead going to play in that level 7 between that Katarina and the Yumi.
And this is the question we were asking. Can you actually get away with no mirror GP? With Keon hitting on time, on tempo, he's going to start shredding through Weibo Gaming.
Yeah, Keon was already high in HP, so now the question becomes Maris, and can he kind of start to bring up, and will NCC1 start to free fall? Because right now, the health is in favor of VP.
Alpimi's roll down now, looking for those Karmas, 40 gold to work with on level 8. It's holding a lot. Doesn't want to go into the Prodigy line, considering that LBTZ is on Katarina and playing for Yumi as a secondary carry. Has not found any Karmas yet, maybe pivoting this line, holding Cassante for now. Not fielding the Swain.
Zyra can be considered to be picked up. It's an interim carry. Swain 2.
A little bit dizzy with so much that he's trying to hold and play for. We'll see if this works out for Salpimi here with a Water Lotus pickup on 4-2.
Has a really beautiful trait web, but unfortunately not being able to swap out fast enough. Is going to have his item still stuck onto the Garen. And in the other hand, Maris already with the full 2-star. So the Sork battle going in the way of VP. He's going to be shooting up the standings.
That was the big question we had for VP, right? Is can Maris actually slingshot back in the NCC1 position of full loss streak all the way down to the bottom, down to 28 HP? And this time around, VP hits. And they've played this strategy a lot. This has been their comfort zone. And as we said, not every game can you hit, but it seems like they've been batting above 50, and they've been able to get the comp together once more for Maris. Not finding the Jarvan 2 or the Gwen, so still a little ways to go. However, should be incredibly stable from here.
has second wind as well to buy some more time to maybe just right at that threshold where it's waiting to die to get some HP back. Guan, our all-out player, has hit all out, so that's the first check on the checkbox has been completed. The Akali with just the Morello for now. We'll see if this board will be enough to stabilize on stage 4. It's still on Cassante pair, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do think the pair is big, though. Just needing to find one more. Oftentimes, we've seen your key forecast just being a single copy because it's getting held so much. But the pair means you can find a duplicator, you can just find one more. You can find one on the carousel. There's a lot of options for getting there.
Even the all-out Cassante 1 beating out Kabuko and GP3 was very surprising. Just incredibly strong how that Augment ended up being. I do have a problem still for Weibo Gaming. I don't think they have a win-out player right now. The Katarinas on 4 copies, there's 0 karmas coming in for Salpimi. Can Guan and Tianlong be the ones to carry with their unusual compositions?
No TF for Milo for the crew player. Unfortunately, there's going to be a Zyra and a Braum. The Braum's being covered. LBTZ is going to go for that pickup in the end. Looking at the state of the rest of the boards, you mentioned it, Simon. I think it's just a lot of off-meta lines for LBTZ. It worked, or for Weibo Gaming, it worked against Aegis because they had a huge HP lead. They were able to just use that tempo play to succeed in that game in the end, but not the case here against VP, where they have players who have all hits. They will be rising in the HP totals. We have one player like Milo who's very stable on a 7 win streak right now at 85 HP.
So without a win out, you really need the opponent to go 8th place, and this is the I think the Yuumi board from NCC1 and LBTZ. This is the race of the century. LBTZ just hit, though.
Yeah, he had an extra copy as well. Doesn't have the gold to actually hold on to it. I will call out that Guan has been able to win multiple times with this all-out board, and if the win-out player is Kian with this 3-star GP, it is a direct counter. So it is just, can Guan hold on to the HP to make it to the end game?
And VP knows how important that is, which is why they're holding Cassante's. Items removed, now items put back in here. VP versus Weibo Gaming. Important matchup here between Kian and LBTZ, the 2-cost rerollers in full effect here. He also now fully itemized with the Sterex, and GP looks very, very healthy. Should be a win here for Kian. An important one as well, where you have 2 players who are kind of on the mirror mats facing each other.
And this was actually quite critical for LBTZ. He stays in the safe zone. At least he's not going to be taken out here. He will have another rejuice coming into the PvE round. We're taking a look at Guan's board right now. He had a 3-star Kai'Sa, so he was like, you know what? Maybe I should be itemizing the Kai'Sa instead. I do think he's trying to keep his teammates in the running, so this is why he's taking items off of the Cassante.
Biggest point to make, still Cassante 1. We saw it look very strong. The moment you hit Cassante 2, maybe that's stable. Maybe you take over the lobby for the start of stage 5. But for now, facing off against a teammate, we're getting a first look at this Samira Volibear Braum board with Mogul's Mail with little buddies as well. An interesting setup, very flex TFT, Bintum-esque here from Tianlong. And it looks like it's going to be strong enough for now. Samira doing a lot of damage with the Shadow Clone especially.
This comp is actually kind of crazy. He hit hard when it comes to frontline. Poppy 2, Braum 2 hits the Samira upgrade, and he has a ways to go because he can still find the Volibear upgrade. Plus, I think he can just start pushing levels because he should be incredibly stable from here. There is actually a real chance he can win out with that comp.
Give up on Katarina, you suddenly go into Jace reroll off of that not really being contested or held by Virtus Pro. And this could be the cap that LBTZ was looking for, the duo carry. Both Yuumis have been found on either side though, so the traditional setup on the right, the level 8 comp for NCC1, and the level 7 reroll variant for LBTZ. Whoever gets 8th, that could dictate the pace of this stage 5 for the rest of the teams.
The problem is NCC1 is on this 1-star Leona, not having that front line stabilized, not having the pair to really have even a hope for the hit. Gonna try to maybe roll this last bit of gold, but trying to escape back-to-back 8s, one from loss streak and one from win streak.
Leona pair, just one copy off the potential stability, holding Cassante to deny Guan as well. Does he find the upgrade to his main tank? If not, if he faces off against any of the stronger players in this lobby, that could be the end of the road for NCC1, who had a huge win streak, 7 win streak, I believe, in stage 3. We thought he wouldn't be going 8th, but it could be a repeat of game 1, unfortunately, for the player from Virtus Pro.
A lot to be asked for from his board. He doesn't have Shred right here, and Salpimi is running Leona too. It's going to be the 2 BA boards against each other.
It's the exact matchup versus LBTZ, and it's going to be a battle of the Yuumis, but the frontline diff is just massive. I think it's going to be far too much. The fight not even looking close. And it looks like that will be NCC1 taking the 8th for the second game in the row.
Tragic 8th place for Virtus Pro. Once again, a lot is asked of the 3 other teammates to try and salvage this game number 2. Flex play as well, where they're seeing there from Tianlong, just barely able to get the win. Tianlong also has Glass Cannon with the Samiras and the Volibear that has kind of free-flowing placements on the board in terms of his jump with Edgelord. So really interesting setup from Tianlong.
Saving Grace is the HP heavily in favor of Virtus Pro at the top of the
Braum
table.
2.
We do have the Braum 2. We also did just see a Jarvan hit on the bench, and now a Cassante hit for Salpimi. So potentially denying that from Guan, but also maybe recognizing that he is the one who's supposed to start winning.
Such a cool fake out from Salpimi. He hits a Leona too and says, you know what? I'm going to target NCC1. You thought I was Sorks? No, no, no. I'm going to target your 8th place player and make sure we get the placement diff.
And this is because LBTZ had already hit his Yuumi and had already hit his Leona, so he was okay to pivot into his own teammate's comp. This is because you were, using the Jace also as a way to have power on your board. A big win here from Salpimi against Guan. 2 teammates facing each other. The bigger question is, does Maris stay healthy? Do Milo and Kian stay on the top of the HP totals? Kian's looking strong now, 4 win streak.
Yep, Mara's able to find a win. I think the big thing is taking those Cassantes from Guan. It seems like they're willing to sacrifice him. The question is, do they need Guan to deal with Kian, or can some of these other compositions actually still deal with the 3-star Gangplank?
Even Guan being in the running makes positioning more awkward because your colleague can jump onto your corner hexes, so it might make the positioning better for other matchups against the Weibo Gaming team.
This is a critical one coming in here. Maris, I think he's stabilized already on the Sork board, had a lot of gold to work with, but the bottom is going to determine how the top plays out. The crew taking a look at how many hits. That is a Ziggs 3. So multiple win-out conditions met on the side of VP. GP3, the crew online. It seems like they are on cruise control.
Yep,
Isaac cast could be huge. If it comes out, it doesn't. She's killed off just in time. Even Volibear out here helping. The Bear from VP on the board for Milo as well, securing his HP lead in the standings.
Even things out, sending 1 member of Weibo 7th. The Weibo does win that first round, right? NCC1 going 8th, Guan going 7th. However, Salpimi, it looks like just falling down to a single life.
The Cassante Guan was looking for shows up now
on the carousel.
Right when he gets taken down, unfortunately. The Gwen pickup by LBTZ, making sure that Gwen isn't picked up by any of the Sorcerer players. Going to try and make the best use of that IE onto the Jace 3 that he found earlier. So great pickup there from LBTZ.
The problem with punching down and contesting NCC1 is they now don't have a win-out player. We were playing Edgelord Volibear, we're playing Jace 3 and Battle Academia. I just think that there's free reign from VP at the top of the standings right now. It's impossible for them to beat the GP3 or to just even take out what we see from the crew.
Even the Volibear pickup from the crew player makes it so that you can't really go for a cheeky, out of nowhere Volibear 3, a very uncontested forecast usually. So VP on top of everything in this game number 2, trying to tie the series, trying to make a comeback.
Well, BTZ has been on a win streak, but now runs into the true test. Eon with the 3-star Gangplank. We're going to take a look at Tianlong facing off against Salpimi. Let's get a closer look at the Samira board, see how much damage and how much pressure it can do, because it feels like it is suffocating towards Salpimi when there's not enough damage on that Yuumi.
Wrong
One
corner.
more cast, and it's not quite enough. Salpimi goes down in 6th. So that is going to be the second trade-off lost, and the question is, can they take down LBTZ? Because he just lost and is down to a single life. Virtus Pro could still send Weibo Gaming a 5th, 6th, and 7th.
And 2 rounds have to pass before LBTZ is safe. Maris at 17 should be 2 lives while still being on stage 5 here. So the game could end right here and now if LBTZ is taken down. He pivoted his Katarina game plan into a Jace game plan. He found the Yuumi 2. He sent NCC1 8th. He did a lot of work, but is it going to be enough if he also goes out in the bottom 4?
Doesn't seem like it's going to be enough for me. The 3 meta boards, and metas are metas for a reason, I have to say. As Maris taking a look, Karma with the artifact there already, 2 stars, and the Gwen. This is just probably too much for LBTZ to deal with.
Gwen has exploded. Swain's buying time, but is it enough? There's a lot of damage on that left hand between the Jace and the Yumi.
Here come the Sword Crocs. Here come the Sword Crocs. One more cast, but the Yumi gets there. LBTZ will live for one more fight at least. Maris gonna drop incredibly low.
Incredibly close fight right there. Just the Gwen not being able to hit the 3rd cast.
There's no Shen 3 from Milo still actually at the crew, so he has a Ziggs 3 before the Shen 3. Weirdly enough, he's still stuck, rolling for all 4 of his 3 stars.
Shanlong taking the loss means that there's still a lot of trouble for Weibo. Either of them dropping out now will just immediately end the game.
It could be down to matchmaking. If they two fight each other, then it's pretty much GG with their HP totals at this point. I'm looking at what could possibly be added to this board. There are still some open slots on Lee Sin. If he hits the 2, that's probably the best he can hope for.
I wonder if Maris should have... actually, no, he couldn't have lost the PV round here, actually. So it would be difficult. But maybe if he was weak enough, he could sacrifice himself. I'm not sure if they think that Maris might be the win-out player as a Sork player.
I think they can also sack for Maris because they just have to send one of these Weibo players out of the game, and it's just over.
I mean, just to make sure that Tianlong and LBTZ face each other earlier, considering that they faced each other 2 rounds ago, where it would be a guaranteed win at that point.
Very confident in their play. Nothing is being removed right here. It probably is going to be one of the Weibo Gaming players, and it is going to be LBTZ.
Here they go. Milo trying to take him out. It's going to be the crew dealing enough damage. But on the other side, Maris against Qianlong. Have to see who loses and who loses harder. Seems like the Karma still alive, able to take down Qianlong. That's going to be Weibo falling down on both sides. An obliteration by Virtus Pro back at Weibo. They got blown out the first time, but they shot it right back.
The positioning from the crew player from Milo on that left side was insane. Perfect sivir angle on 4 units to deal so much damage early into that fight. Great comeback. NCC won despite going 8th. He did a great job in the early game to preserve HP, to knock down the HP totals of Weibo Gaming in the process. I like Weibo Gaming's idea. This same game plan they executed against Aegis and it worked out. Here, they just didn't have a cap high enough. Their gas kind of came short.